Do you want to talk about what we want to see before we get into it? Like, it's only 7 minutes. They probably can't get too much stuff. I'll say that I don't like the gem system, so I'd like them to address that as being like annoying to obtain, and like it makes changing builds bad. I think that the socketing the cores slash runes, changing that would be good. On the same token of just being more easily flexible with your builds. Some of the maps are very cringe, especially the elevation maps and like the foliage maps that just like cause you to lag, and obviously the lever maps. Acquiring the juice from having to clear the bosses 4 times as opposed to just having the Atlas tree be where you get your juice, having these like side things be where you get your map juice, I think is not good. I don't know anything about the actual Atlas itself, but tower maps suck to run, so something to address them would be good. And then the citadels, it feels like they're too hard to interact with. It feels like it takes too long to get to them. And then something I don't expect for them to change, but would really like for them to change, is the one portal limit. I'd like them to keep no scourings. I think that's cool, but add a way to have maps and or like crafting bench style resistances. I guess resocketing runes kind of solves the resistance thing, but not really. Anyways, that's, you know, more than 7 minutes of asks, and we only have 7 minutes of stuff, so I'm sure they won't get to all of it. Maybe on purpose, but
My
I'm ready when you are.
my only thing is the maps need to be 80% of the map layouts need to be deleted or reworked. We need 6 portals, and we need scouring orbs, and a whole crafting bench, and we need more classes and more skill gems and more in-game content. Without any of those things, I think it's a miss. But we'll see.
That'll be probably more of a 0.2 as opposed to a 0.1.1.
Yeah, but they did go through all the effort of hyping up a stream for this one, so but we'll see. All
Yeah,
right,
I mean, I think this is more of a fires are burning hot type stream of they're letting us know that they're back and working on stuff.
100%. But
It's not really a hype stream.
yeah, I just think the fires or burning hot streams are they could just type up a blog and be better off. But
I guess, but
you
like,
know,
I don't know. You always complain when we don't get communication about how
yeah, but I
they could
also
just
I hate, but
communicate.
I also hate even more is nothing
The
sandwiches.
waste time
Yeah,
communication.
and that is seems to be dev teams from modern game companies most accurate stream is a nothing sandwich stream.
I
Like,
tend to like the dev streams, even when they're rambly yapping. But
I mean, I'm okay with rambling yapping as long as they say anything of sustenance, which most of the time they'll say like they'll eventually hit something, but like it could be a waste of time quite a bit, like or often. GDG doesn't usually fall into this.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers,
Jonathan
Game Director
Rogers,
on Path of Exile 2.
Grinding Gear Games.
Well, we're back from our break. We've been playing the game a whole lot, and we've been reading a whole lot of feedback as well. So it's time to assess and work out what we're going to do next. Now, later this week,
I
we'll
kind
be
of wish they
releasing
showed us
PoE
their
2
character when they said we've been playing
0.1.1.
the game a whole
This is a
lot.
patch designed to address the concerns that we can address relatively quickly, without needing to create a new league or a new economy just yet. In this video, we'll be going over some of the issues we've identified, and what we're planning on doing about them. It's worth stressing that just
Pause.
because
They said just yet on the economy reset, so
Yeah,
like to me that means they're going to give us seasonal reset in early access.
yeah, that's confirmed.
Okay.
They confirmed that even
It's,
before this stream already in replies.
okay.
There will
Well,
be
I did not
there,
see that.
there will be an economy reset. Multiple, actually.
Okay. I think that's good. I think that's a good thing. I think resets are fun.
Yeah, I think we're already overdue for one, but
Well, I mean, I guess, but
I think we're overdue for one due to the impact of all the bugs exploiting hack. Like
I
just just early access things, they could have gone ahead and fired a reboot off, but they were again on break. So, and the problem wouldn't have been
yeah.
as bad as it was if they weren't on break. So,
And I don't think that firing off a reset just to set the economy is worth. I think it's better to have things like a new like something to actually hype people into feeling worse to reroll, not just resetting the economy.
Fair.
Because I think that we wouldn't mind just everyone resets the economy type reset, but I think a lot of people would not. They wouldn't be drawn back unless there's a new cool thing.
Specific issue isn't on this list doesn't mean that we're not aware of it or that it isn't going to get addressed. It just means that we either can't fix the problem quickly or we can't do so without the need for a new economy. One of the major areas that needs a lot of attention is the base experience of mapping. We've made a lot of changes here.
Better layouts.
First, in-game maps have received a balance pass to the number of monsters, number of chests, number of magical rare monsters, number of essences, strongboxes, and precursor artifacts. You should generally find maps more
rewarding monster.
Maps generally specialize in one or more of these elements that they will be particularly rewarding in.
Is that like the base type of the map specializes in it, or just like randomly?
But we only had one of them.
You could get one that specializes in something and then
that's a new map.
More tower maps.
This is a tower map.
Alpine Ridge.
Yeah.
According to the end thing to click on.
Yeah, there's now not just one tower layout. There's more.
Huh. These don't look. These look okay.
And Mesa.
Yeah, if the other tower map was a placeholder for.
Also redone the existing Lost Towers
okay,
map.
Yeah.
They redid them. Okay.
It's a placeholder.
These look much better.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a placeholder.
Bosses.
Okay.
The rate was intended to be 1 in 4 maps, but in reality the rate was much lower due to some maps being unable to spawn bosses.
Okay.
So
they increased the rate to compensate for this
bosses.
issue, so that we can get the actually intended rate.
Makes sense.
We're also adding a new type of tablet that allows you to add
the
bosses to your
are
maps with its own mod.
That was
rewarding
needed.
to kill.
That tablet was needed.
Strongboxes also needed some love. They now spawn monsters faster, have a less annoying.
I mean, they could go much faster on the strongbox spawn, but that looked like it could still be faster.
Let's talk about visibility of effects.
Sure.
Many maps had too much clutter, preventing effects
This
on the
is
ground.
the lag you out map.
They cut down it. Yeah, it's cut down.
There's much less purple
the
plant.
Clutter on some maps, and has changed some effects to make sure that they are always visible. In addition, elemental explosion effects have had visibility improved.
I think they could go even farther on the visibility of the ground effects,
without
but
exploding if a rare monster dies.
I don't know that they're just going to do red overlay.
Volatile plants are also way easy to see before they explode. Now,
those volatile plants look the same to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what the zoom out of the Atlas previously was, so that meant nothing.
We've also improved the load times of opening the world map and Atlas panel.
Okay, that's good.
And we also now
improve the load times, very important. This little maneuver is going to take us.
For other in-game content systems, we're focusing on getting all the rewards in line with what they should be. For Delirium, we recently fixed a bug which caused Delirium monsters to just not spawn after the starting part. And we've also buffed the rate of simulacrums dropping by 20%
Delirium mobs
to make it more in line with the rate of finding the expedition and ritual bosses.
Delirium might still be cringe because it was very cringe before.
Omens now appear in the ritual tribute window 60% more often.
Yeah, that's good.
For Expedition, we've improved the rarity from the shops. We'll be wanting to make some more substantial changes
to make Expedition worth anything.
Now, one of the major concerns that we're often seeing,
like the major thing for side content is having to get the points
when you do finally get there, you only get one attempt and don't get a chance to learn the boss. In order to address these concerns, we're making the following changes.
Everywhere.
First,
on all
we're making the Citadel spawn closer to the center of the Atlas.
Oh, that's cool.
We've also added an effect so you can see them.
We can actually like trap the Citadels down.
This makes them much easier to find.
Basic UI.
To address the problem of only having one attempt, on the Arbiter of Ash you will now get up to 6 respawn attempts.
But not in the
Respawns
map.
can only be triggered by the person who put in the keys.
I guess
everyone in your party will respawn at the same time. Leaving the map still forfeits your attempt, so you'll still need to fight the boss with the build you walked into the map with. Higher difficulties of the boss will lower the number of respawn attempts you get, but you should know the mechanics of the fight by then, right?
Ah, cringe.
We'll also be adding respawns to other pinnacle content.
Just give us 6
well
portals.
Another thing that players have noticed is that there are less keys from Faradin Citadels on the market, and thought that it was because the Citadel spawns less often. It turns out, though, that this is just because the boss kills players more often than the others.
Turns out the boss is just the cringe with forced intermissions and...
A lot of people have reported that many of our unique items are feeling underwhelmed.
Giga slams.
Uniques are often designed to be build enabling at high levels, even if they're low level uniques. But we realize that we do need to make sure that more uniques feel powerful when you first get them at low levels too. Yep. In this patch, we are buffing a lot of uniques. These changes should make finding uniques at lower levels a lot more fun, and make subsequent character playthroughs more fun too, when you have some great uniques to use.
Look at them.
We're also changing a few other things to make finding rares better at higher levels too. First, we're changing mod weightings a bit to make sure that there are less bad mods. Another fix is making high tier items no longer cull the highest
Mod
tier modifier
weightings,
from a given
yuck.
mod type. This bug caused bows and crossbows to not spawn with attack speed at tier 5 rarity, and rings to not spawn with life at tier 5 rarity.
That's a good bug.
Another change we're making is to make it so that socketables such as runes can now be overwritten with another socketable. Now, as we continue to play,
That's huge.
we still find many balance anomalies
Big.
with specific monsters or bosses that can be nasty if you encounter them. This patch contains a pass adjusting a large number of those monsters and bosses. We'll save the full list for the patch notes, but there are a significant number of changes here that should address many cases where monsters or
we do
bosses
get
felt
patch
too hard in
notes.
certain circumstances.
Mhm.
Here are a few examples to get a taste of what kind of changes you can expect. The Silverfist Commander roll now does a lot less damage. Plague
Fuck
Bearers
that
Detonate
monkey.
Dead can no longer be used from off-screen and has better telegraphing. Forsaken Miners throw less grenades, have improved visuals,
Ideally,
and
no
do less
ability
damage.
should be able to be used off screen.
And Lost Men Zealots can no longer meteor you from off-screen either,
Oh, thank you.
as well as many other changes just like those. One of the big issues for players on consoles is that the web-based item filter system is currently not working. This means that they can't use item filters like the PC users can.
Console
The
Omega Low.
0.1.1 will be enabling the same system that PoE 1 has, which allows you to subscribe to item filters on the website. For now, this will be done on the PoE 1 website to allow us to get this feature out as fast as possible. Later on, we'll improve the user experience of this and put it on the Path of Exile 2 website.
People were really playing without loot
This
filter
patch
on
also
console
contains
this
a
whole
bunch of
time.
other smaller changes and bug fixes that
Crazy.
I'm sure you guys will appreciate, like buffing armor and scavenged plating, showing the number of uses left in your charms, as
armor
well as an
buff?
effect when they trigger,
No,
That
armor
sounds like-
plating.
Song
That was
Oh.
a skill.
Exiles.
fixing the
Oh.
music that Una was supposed to play in
Okay,
town.
less exciting.
They fixed her music. Don't worry, guys. She's got her
That's
loot
important.
back.
And plenty of other
Can
little
we
fixes
get her
and
in her
improvements
hideout?
throughout the game. Now,
The
we have a
Blong
huge
Forest?
amount of much more meta-shifting changes that
I
we
need
know
my
we want to
bard.
make. And one of the best things about having the game in early access with the endgame is that we now have a much better idea of where we want character power to be and what the balance of bosses and
Meta-shifting
monsters
people
should be
shake.
relative to that. But those types of changes are going to have to wait until we are ready to make a new league with a new economy for people to play in.
Okay.
That's still a
So
little
we're
while
not
away
getting
yet.
anything
But in
nerfed
the meantime, we'll be
or
continuing to
buffed.
identify things that are causing frustration and try and address them.
Seems
Well,
like
thank
it's
you
a
guys
wait
playing,
for
and hope to be doing more of these in the future. Later.
new reset angle. Like good changes, but nothing that's like,
Yeah, they're waiting until they can. They're waiting to do a reset until they get more data.
I guess, or just more stuff's ready.
Okay, that was the video, and then Empyrean made a good thing of the
Q&A.
Q&A. So
Okay.
after about 2.5 hours of talking, these were the highlights. Waystone tab is coming as
I
soon
don't
as
think
possible.
that the Waystone tab is actually that impactful, but I don't deal with Waystones, so
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you it's the most important thing we need for mapping.
do you think it'll actually be helpful?
Yes,
Okay.
map tab in
Do you
PoE
think
map tab in PoE 1 is insanely useful. As somebody
for,
who
for
always
trading maps, or because
For
they're not
every-
useful for like running?
for everything.
Okay.
Having a place to store maps that you internally, as the person who's in charge of maps, can sort them through, that has an auto sorting function that you can put the regex
But,
into it
there's
where,
no-
like,
I guess like the sorting isn't the exact same as it would be. I guess the tier is the only functional difference, right?
it's just, it would be tier. Yeah. It would just be tiers. It would be just, well, it's the same. It's 1 through 16.
But there's not like
There's no Conqueror maps yet.
T16 But there's not like a T16 beach, a T16 Crimson Temple, a T16 waterways.
But I would still like to not have to, but it is still agony to sort through those in a quad tab. When
It would
I
be cool if they implemented the regex feature like into the tab to where like you could click like a check mark on has
quantity,
on like and then like a X on I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know what the map
anything
mods
is
are,
better than no tab. There's no tab is
Have the-
unacceptable.
the list of the map mods on the Waystone tab and then be able to build your own regex off of it
The
would be cool. but that
Waystone tab is needed
definitely isn't coming.
because we
Okay.
drop Waystones at 16 different tiers. I need some place to store and sort them, even if
Okay.
it's just by the tiers.
That's why you just buy a tab. That's
That doesn't sort them. Map balance pass. Bad layout maps might be more rewarding. So
We'll
I
have to
guess
see how that
along with
feels.
the map balance, apparently that also is include that they want to make more bad layouts more rewarding. But like, how does that even work? Bad layouts are just bad because they're bad layouts. That's not whatever. Levers and
Like
augury will be changed.
changed as in removed, or
Just
changed?
changed. I think to be the other levers
Okay.
from the other maps where you just click and they go without you standing there doing a massive animation. Map sustain is in a pretty good place. Parentheses skill issue. I guess they're gaslighting us, saying map sustain is fine. It's not,
I
though.
mean-
When I am running a tier 10 map and I need to drop a tier 11 map, if I'm doing the T10 quest, which requires me to do 10 tier 10s, and I don't drop one tier 11, that's not a skill issue. That's a problem with the game, but whatever. They have the same mentality in PoE 1, and it's not good either.
Yeah, because I
they-
think they're approaching map sustain from a you're done and now you're farming.
But even then, you don't get a surplus of maps to roll and brick. An actual PoE player, right, is only going to run 1 in like 32 maps that they roll themselves.
Well, not if you're just alking and going on any mods.
I mean, even alking and going with the way the mods work in Path of Exile 2, they're even more important because you have to land the quantity and rarity mod for the map to drop you anything.
Well, no, you don't have to hit it. You just go in.
You have to hit it.
And you hit some monsters.
No, you have to hit it. Honestly, you need to be at the point in a tier. If you're running a tier 15 map, you need to be dropping so many T15s per map that you're not picking some up.
Okay.
Or bulk trade needs to be way better for mapping. Or maps just need to be in the currency exchange as white. I also think maps should basically only drop white rarity. Also, we need crafting for maps.
But I think if their standpoint is map sustain to them means I never run out of things to put into my atlas, regardless of what the quality of that
That's
is.
also false. Because like there are points where you could legitimately be stuck having to go back to running the tier 1 map from Doriani. Like,
you still sustained a map. Forehead.
You didn't sustain, you pitied. A tier 1 map isn't a map to somebody who's doing tier 10s. Most people in the scenario, I feel like, of having to run a tier 1 map when they were doing tier 10s because they didn't sustain any maps at all or enough to keep going, would probably rather log out and not log back in.
I don't disagree. It's an old style of back in my day, people would use a mirror on a map because it was so hard to get maps.
The game was bad then.
Certainly worse.
Ideally, every new league should provide a new crafting avenue character power that is not accessible elsewhere. Expedition didn't quite hit the mark. Needs something else, currently pretty rushed. They know it needs more content inside of Expedition alone, and they also acknowledged that more crafting will come into the game per league mechanic. So basically, it's exactly what I was thinking, right? Every league mechanic is going to be the gateway to some sort of crafting. There won't be core drops in the game. Core drops are chaos, exalts, divines. Every other type of currency is considered a league crafting currency, which I think is bad design, by the way, because like they're going to add alts somewhere and they're going to make you only be able to drop alts or scours from
Delve.
And you're going to be like, what if I don't like that mechanic?
Then you trade for them.
But that can also be a problem if it's a core base game functioning level currency.
It's a problem for SSF. I don't think it's a problem for trade.
I think it's a problem for trade too, because early on, the game just needs to flow, right? Certain things need to work for everybody, like your SSF. And then there's, of course, things that need to be specific that are farmable. Like, people should be able to just play the game, basically SSF, until tier 15 maps, is my take. Or at least red maps. Inevitably,
You would say that the end game starts at tier 15 maps, and that they would say that the end game starts at T1
level
maps.
1. It's a thing, like, you'll get 2 years down the road, and they'll just be like, okay, we're reworking the core drop pool. Every one of these items is a core drop.
That's true. That will happen.
Eventually, all endgame encounters, pinnacle bosses, not maps, will be 6 portal fights. Arbiter is coming with the patch, but others will be follow. Technical stuff is holding the others back.
Like the breach guy, I imagine, would be difficult to do, because
Yep.
how could you make it to where you don't just get to run 6 of the breach runs?
Higher tier items should be more rewarding. They shuffled around some mods to achieve this. I guess examples will be in the patch notes. That's just a no-brainer. Higher tier items should be more rewarding, so...
Yeah. Picking up items off the ground when they say tier 5, I think it's essentially the greater affix system from T4.
Yeah.
Which is a good system, even though
And it's
D4 bad.
essentially like picking up an item, like a item level 84 base in PoE 1 that rolled like a shaper helm, right? And be like, did this hit something good? Quick swap from controller to mouse and keyboard coming soon. Not necessarily this patch. That's for people who like to play with controller but want to trade and shit.
I think that's cool. I think controller sport's big.
This just should be a function of every game. So
Yeah.
big balance changes will come with economy resets as well as new content, of course. No idea when that's going to be.
Yeah.
They talked about the hacking. The hacks were a social engineering breach, not a full-scale data breach. Issue is fixed. The long answer is someone got access to an admin account at GGG. It was an old Steam account of customer support that got compromised through Steam support. So basically Steam support fucked up. They were able to provide enough information to Steam to gain access to the account. 66 accounts were compromised as a result of during the 5 days of logging. Unknown how many of these were hacks were the ones on Reddit. Rarity is completely fine and will not be changed. Based. Legitimately the only good thing they said this whole time.
Said some good things. I think they haven't said the good things that you want.
This is the most important thing to me, is them understanding as developers that rarity is fine despite people not understanding how rarity works. Melee scaling, so for warriors specifically, melee scaling, especially in-game, is not a great place. Imagine, it's just like you can see it from looking at the skills from level 1.
There was a time in PoE 1 where melee sucked to level, but then at endgame was just like the king of
but it wasn't
holding down Cyclone and.
But that's not melee, right? When people are talking about melee, they're talking about wind up, big slam, dual strike, double strike.
That's never going to be able to compete with put sparks flooding the whole screen, Cyclone covering the whole screen.
Yeah.
Wiggling around.
But like these skills aren't even good for bossing is the problem. Like these skills don't kill elites.
Fair enough.
And attack speed is a big part of it. You can watch people even with like multiple mirrors, right? Like fubbing them trying to make melee work, and it just doesn't because it feels bad. Attacking slow feels bad. It said it'll be addressed in a big balance patch, not this one. Charm activation will be more visible. Charms need more love.
I think that's big true. I think charms are just worse than flasks.
Yeah, they just like give me my flasks back. But maybe they'll iterate on them and make them good enough. Mage Flood was in the Friends and Family patch, so it's there somewhere. Crafting determinism is a fine line to walk. They definitely don't want full deterministic crafting. Same stance they've had as in PoE 1. They agree that the current iteration is a bit too gamble heavy. True. More content that is coming in early access will help with this. Greater essences are far too rare. They are aware that this is a problem. Breach density is very high and causing error messages on GGG's end. They don't want to nerf it. They'd rather buff other mechanics. This is a insane line to hear.
Yeah, that's good. That's good shit.
Which is what they did, right? They didn't touch Breach. They're trying to buff everything else. Now, they're way off the mark on the expedition buffs, but they'll get there, surely. The only thing that matters is their mentality. If they keep this mentality and build the game off of this mentality, off of Breach is a good mechanic, we need to make all the other mechanics as good or better than Breach, then we're chilling. The game will get better. In-game progression could use improvements. Complete 10x tier 1 maps is not fun. Towers and tablets need to be better communicated to non-PoE players.
The current Atlas system we have in PoE 2 is just so much worse than what we have in PoE 1. Like, multiple iterations of what we had in PoE 1 were better than what we have in PoE 2 currently.
Yeah, PoE 2's 1 currently feels like the very bare bones basic Atlas we got at the start of PoE 1. Actually, it might even be worse. It might even be a downgrade.
It's even worse than that. Because, like, the tower running is worse than the old Sexence. The
zone locking.
The way that I guess we didn't have Shaper and Elder at the very, very beginning, but
yeah, I'm talking the very, very beginning. It feels very akin to that.
Part of that issue will be fixed with a Shaper Elder type expansion that makes the Atlas itself more like the base moving around of it more interesting. The Citadel change will probably make it better, to where you can see citadels in the fog. The main thing is that the death per portal killing your map. Hold on, I have a horse to go beat. It's not quite dead yet. I would know, because if it was dead, it would no longer be allowed here.
They still feel pretty strongly about 1 death per map.
Yeah,
they would rather adjust.
I also feel pretty strongly.
They would rather adjust other axes of penalties, XP loss, can't rerun map, etc., than compromise on the 1 portal penalty. This statement alone makes me not want to log in again.
I crush my balls.
Yeah.
You don't need to pin.
I don't know.
No one's running.
You can't have this.
Oh boy, can't wait to die 6 times this map.
You can't have this mentality and then do the pinnacle bosses get 6 portals bullshit. Not even 6 portals. Pinnacle bosses get 6-man respawns. If you're not going to compromise on the 1 portal penalty, at least let me revive my teammate in the map if I'm alive. Like uncompromisable. Like literally uncompromisable, you probably will not see me log into PoE 2 early access again without that change. Like I just don't care to. Doesn't matter what they add. I just don't want to lose my map. It doesn't matter how actually impactful losing the map is. I shouldn't lose my map.
It feels bad when you get randomly one-shot by bullshit. It feels bad, and it feels even worse when they close the map behind you.
Bleed should apply to Energy Shield. The fact that it hasn't since launch was an oversight.
I mean, I don't think that's going to make Energy Shield not the best defensive option.
Ascendancy choice being locked is still a contentious topic within GGG, not changing with this patch. Lock in Exiles. I'm sure MP added that. So Basically, we need to keep giving feedback that we need to be able to change.
Especially in early access, there's no reason to lock it.
The last 2 ascendancy points should be hard to get. Not
Fuck
change.
that.
They're not changing its difficulty.
It's ascendancy, bro. It's like something that you shouldn't have to be a pinnacle gamer to achieve.
They want to upgrade core Atlas tree. It's a bit boring and flat right now.
It looks like a poop emoji.
They are aware of minion body blocking issues. Minions slowing down when the player is slowed down is not intended and will get fixed, but no idea when these fixes are coming. Specters are coming fairly soon, not this patch, probably the next big content update. Search feature on Atlas is coming, not this patch. Tornado Bird in Trial of Chaos will get nerfed. Disenchanting Flask for Baubles might be coming. I realized this right before I logged out for the last time for this early access patch, that we only had like 30 baubles after all that whole time playing. They're not against adding checkpoints and maps. Okay.
The bigger problem is that you have to go hunt down every elite and like the one that
But
was
like
back in
the checkpoints and
Narnia.
maps is good. Add them.
Yeah.
Don't take away my portal on death, because what would I use the checkpoint for if not to get back to it? Like,
Well, you'd use the checkpoint for when you run to the end of the Vol City, and then there's one guy back at the entrance. You could then teleport to the checkpoint.
Gambler and PC in the hideout is coming. You'll be able to change all quest reward based buffs. Yeah,
Like
that's
the
good.
attribute,
Yeah.
chaos res.
They need to be the option to select none also, like unselect.
Yep, true.
Player collision is on their radar, but I did listen to this part. Their player collision is on their radar, but they don't think it's a problem.
They haven't played in a group then.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
All MTX will be added by full launch. Not sure how the cadence is leading up to it. They are prioritizing actual gameplay and content over it for now. I love gameplay and content, but to all the people who own thousands and thousands of dollars of MTX, and even me who owns just a little bit, I would like my MTX sooner rather than later. You should just have the development power to have both. They shouldn't be the same team. Yeah.
They're a small indie company, unironically.
Not actually though. Owned by Tencent fully. Actually owned by a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Some stuff is good here. Some really good lines here, but also some lines that'll make me not log in. So take with that what you will. Also, radio silence on PoE 1.
Smog.
Seems like, I mean, at this point it's basically confirmed, right? PoE 1's delayed farther. Because there is no point where they could do an announcement where we would make the end of January estimate as of before. So rip. I guess that's what makes me the most sad. Is like where is the PoE 1 content?
Where PoE 1?
Because they're not really doing that much to PoE 2, honestly.
It's probably a lot of background work.
Yeah, 1.1 isn't a lot, so where is my signs of life for PoE 1? More disappointing than I thought it was going to be. Again, there are a couple good changes, but a lot of people are pretty upset that PoE 1 is... Like, people are getting to the point now where they're starting to be like, okay, where's the PoE 1 shit?
I mean, yeah, it's been over half a year.
People could say I'm unreasonable for getting upset about it, or like calling them liars, but we're getting to the point where what they're saying just, it has not been true for a long time regarding PoE 1. They are just not saying what is actually going to happen. And I think that they know that that's true before they say it. It's crazy at this point, right? Like, we're over 6 months into a PoE 1 league with no information about what's next.
They would like to have a new PoE 1 league, more so than we would. CGP Grey is a video essayist YouTuber who puts out videos very infrequently. And in one of his Q&As, he said, he gets a lot of questions about when the next video is coming out. And trust me, dear viewer, I want the next CGP Grey video out much more so than you. Like, GGG wants the next PoE 1 league out.
But do they?
Yes.
They have PoE 2. It makes sense for GGG as a company to prioritize just pumping out PoE 2 early access content and advertising it as leagues. So that way they can keep making money off the early access entrance all the way till the game is free to play, and then they'll make money normally. It is becoming a pretty, I think, common review that it would be reasonable for GGG to just stop doing PoE 1. But if they're going to stop doing it, they need to just say it.
They need to tell us, yeah.
Yeah, like, they need to not keep, like, just, like, carrot on us sticking us along, and just say it. Just come out and say, PoE 1 is dead. We think we will make way better progress of PoE 2 and provide you the game content you are looking for in PoE 2 if we can just switch all of our efforts there and provide you more consistent seasonal updates there. And that's fine. Just say it. Just tell me it's done so I can uninstall and... Yeah. Tell me it's done so I can uninstall and not play PoE 2 until it's full released. Like, just tell me so I can just stop investing my time and thoughts towards it. It doesn't seem like it's that crazy of a thing for them to say. Because people would understand.
Not tell people you're moving on
because
if you're already moving on.
Because people would understand the money incentives. Like, it just makes sense as a company for them to just move on. The fact that they didn't say anything today is alarming.
I was definitely expecting a PoE 1 something, a mention of it.
I share the same sentiment with a couple other content creators. PoE 1 is my home, and PoE 2 will not be my home until you make changes, and these aren't the changes. So I guess I'm infinitely waiting for them to tell me what's happening with PoE 1. I appreciate the effort they were doing on PoE 2, but PoE 1 win. Well, that was that. I'm over it. No, I probably will stop interacting with PoE 2 content altogether until, like, videos and everything until an economy reset. Basically the same thing I do for PoE 1 already, right? Like, I mean, early access was cool. I'm over it. I once again am reminded why I shouldn't play early accesses.